Hello and welcome back to this video. Thank you for being here. It has been a little while since my last video and I really missed these moments when I do this kind of things that some people find it like it's kind of stupid and ridiculousness, sure, to other people. But anyway, so today's video will be doing Node.js stuff and we'll be talking about the passport.js, which really caused me headache recently because this documentation is kind of shitty and it's all over the place, and yeah, so it's not really organized. This is not the best out there, but anyway, you have to deal with. So what I'm doing here, I'm just starting from scratch. So I'm having this to-do folder that contains nothing, and I did install Express generator, and I'll be just generating a project of Express, and I'll be using EGS as a template engine. Let it do the rest, and there you go. So I would like to open. Okay, it's already opened here. So let's go ahead and have a look inside it, what's going on here. So a simple Node.js application. So if I go nodemon to boot up things, it seems like yeah, we have HTTP errors because I have to do npm-e, and I would like to also add so first of all, I would like to run npm-e to install dependencies that are already right here, and later I'll be adding stuff like npm-e. We need passport local and passport, so for later use, but let's do them for now and we could speed up things. Okay, now we could run the server. So let me just get back to my terminal, and I could do nodemon right here and it's up and running. Now if I go back to the browser, we could see that we have, what the heck is that? I don't need that. We do see that we have Express, a little welcome page welcoming us with this message, Express, welcome to Express, that is actually generated from this this controller, if you could say it. So this is it. So just head to this one, and we have this title, pass it to the view that is located right here, and there you go. So you have the rest, the message, the h1, the h2, the error in case we have any error, and also the pre for like more details. I could add it wherever here. Hello, this is med right here, and if I do refresh, okay, so sorry, I think I did open the error, but I must be right here. So welcome to Mr. Me. So let's add it Mr. Mad, and if I do refresh, come on dude, yeah, there you go. So I'm having my name, and make this slightly bigger or hugely bigger. This is better. Okay, now let's go ahead and implement our logic. So as I said, we'll be using passport.js, which is like middleware for authentication, basically, that contain a lot of strategies. And what strategy mean? What the heck? Strategy mean like ways to connect. So if you would like to use passport for connect using Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, GitHub, whatever. So there is a 502 strategies. For example, let's search for let's go for LinkedIn, for example. There you go. So you have this kind of strategy or way to connect. But in today's video, we'll be focusing on username and password, as simple as that. So there is this kind of words from the teams. They say they're the most widely used from the website to authenticate users via username and password support. This mechanism is provided by Passport Local. So this is the package that I did install at the beginning of this video. And the next thing, it does show me this command to be executed on the terminal to allow me to have that passport local. The next thing is the configuration right here. All right, so we need to have a custom file that we could call configuration, or passport generally it's called. So I would like to create a new folder and call it config, and inside it to create a file called passport.js, right? and I simply drag and paste this code right here. And the next thing is to actually, it's broken, as you see here, so it's not really fantastic code. Oh, sorry, my fault, I just missed parentheses and semicolon. And as I said, this is not perfect because it does not export anything. So what I am going to do is simply wrap this into the export dot module, sorry, dot, come on dude, module dot export, and I will set this equal to a function, an anonymous function. We could go to ECMASX, but anyway, you're free to do whatever you want. And right here, I would like to pass the passport, so to be like a passed parameter, or you could simply just remove it and use this passport variable, and you're fine to go. So everything should be fine right here. The next thing, if you look here, we are using user.findBy, and this means this is a collection, or this is a model actually. So we need to create it first, and to do that, we need to go back to our folder directory and create a new folder. Let me call this models, and inside it I'll create a user model, right? So let me call it user model.js, and right here I will need to have, since we are going to work with MongoDB, so I need to have Mongoose. Hopefully it's installed globally, but I'm not sure that my system will pick up, so I'll do const mongoose. Okay, there's an extra m, equal to require mongoose, and I'll do const schema equal to mongoose dot schema. Okay, so right here we are getting an instance of a schema that allow me later to create a model of this user. So let's do create the collection, sorry. So I'll start by doing var user equals to new schema. Okay, so I'll be defining this schema stuff for this user, and right here let me say this is the username that will be required, set it to true. So all this stuff is really simple. You could go to mongoose, yep, and from there you find, okay, this is funny animal, and you have plenty of documentation. So don't be afraid to jump into and just type here, for example, schema or schema. Okay, I'm just typing things wrongly. Okay, so there you go, defining your schema. What is that? Giving me something to download. I don't need it, you dump. Whatever. Okay, something seems to be wrong with this website, but there you go. So this is what am I talking about. I could even crop this one, so new schema, set the name, string, the age to whatever, and this parameter could be whether a string like so, like it's written right here, or you could pass an object with multiple stuff like required and the type, etc. Okay, so let's keep things as simple as possible. I'll go to required, and the type will be string, and we'll add a new other parameter will be the password, and as you may guess it, will be just duplicating the things again. So I'll just speed up things. Okay, I won't be using big crypt right here because, as I said, I would like to really explain how to configure this passport, but for later more advanced stuff we could use bycrypt, and you could use a more good stuff with this one. And now we have to export the model that we could be able to use it later inside our application. So right here I will do user equal to mongoose dot model, and this model does take the first one. It will be the name of the table that will be, or the collection that will be stored inside the database, and the next thing it will need schema to come up from, and the next thing is to just do module.export and export this one equal to user, right? And there you go. So we're good now. The next thing, we move back to passport, and we need to load this user. So do const, since we won't be changing it anymore, and I will do require and make sure we jump one step back, go to models and drag the user. Okay, there you go. So as you may see here, my IDE did pick up the methods and properties from the Mongo's collection item. So right here there's a missing part that is not written inside the documentation, which is how to find this user. We would like to tell our, let's say, middleware how to find user depending on what. So we need to add an object right here, and this object is an option. As you may see here, it's a strategy option. So it does take simply some parameters, but one of them is username field, and also you could pass user or password field. Okay, so I'm going to tell this passport which field that will be matched to be the username. So in my case, I'll be using an email, for example, right? And this is must be between single quote or double quote, doesn't really matter, and everything is fine now. I'd like really to jump back to the documentation that I don't go hard on them, and this is why I said this documentation is really messy. We are talking about something that must be placed right here, and it's written all the way down right where I just lost. Where is it? Okay, so there you go. So by default, start to expect to find a credential and parameter username and password. If you cite prefer the name, these field differently options are available to change the default. So there you go. The resume of this, if you don't set these things right here, username and password, then by default a local strategy of passport will expect to have a username field and a password field, right? So let's go back and finish our tutorial. And so what's going on here, we have this function that's containing username and password and a DON that will be returned later. And right here we have user find one, so we are using this user from this model, and we're finding one based on its username, but actually I'll be passing an email right here. So I'd like to keep things like more significant, so email not username, and username field will be email, etc. Okay, so if something went wrong, then I'll be done with an error. If the user is not found, then I'll be done with a null, false, and an error message. If the user have valid user, I will be escaping this one for now because I won't be using bcrypt. So I could put this in a command, and finally I will return a done with a null and the user, which is like a success response. Okay, great. Not yet, but we could start testing our application. We need to have a form. So let me just move back to the app.js and scrolling a bit down, just looking for this part, and I would like to create a get and a post. So right here, let's suppose this will be a login, right? So it will be user/login, and this one will be a post, and it will be also login. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and test this on the browser. So where am I? Okay, just have a lot of things going on. So if I do user/login, there you go. So we have response with a resource, and we will have the same thing when we do the post stuff like so. Okay, right here I would like to have a view or template. Let's call this login.egs like so. And I'd like to grab a form. So to speed up things, I will grab a form that is really written. There you go. Okay, then we could we have this login, email, everything look fine. Just I would like to update, so make sure that it's pointing to that one. Now if I do check it, okay, what's wrong? Yeah, the next thing is actually to tell Node to load that one, to tell Express actually. So to do render, and it will ask me for a name of an EGS file, and login, refresh, and there you go. So I'm having login with an email, password, and a login. And in case you don't have, so you can just register. But anyway, you'll be focusing on logging in, and these credentials are already set inside the database. So I would like to show you. If I go to employees and just navigate inside it, I'd like to show you that that user already exists somewhere right here. So let me just search for it. Okay, dude, it seems like it's not existing. Wait a second, I think I missed, I just jumped into the wrong collection. So if I, come on dude, come on. Okay, so we have a user right here, user collection, and normally we'll be having our user stored right there. So there you go, this is it. And we could go on with our tutorial. So if I hit login, I'm redirected to that login post page and everything is responding correctly. So the next thing, we're not finished yet. So instead of doing that response, that static response, we'd like to pass or to set it to the passport way of responding to these requesters. So right here, instead of that, I would be passing this one. Okay, so what's going on here? We are telling passport, we are actually using passport to intercept this one and to authenticate our user using the local strategy that we did define inside this passport. Let me just get rid of all these dudes, it's kind of messy. Okay, so we are using this local strategy right here. Okay, so when things gone pretty well, just redirect me to the slash page, to the main page or to the root page. When things gone wrong, just redirect me back to the login page, and failure flash is set to true in case we did set up like flash messages to do like kind of things. But this is not the purpose of this video, so just taking that off, because I don't want to make this video like 2 hour longs, and I believe it's really long. So let me just check how much. It's only, wow, it's only 18 minutes. Okay, so bear with me, we won't take a bit more, a long time. Okay, so the next thing is to do what? Let's go back to app.js. So we need to load these settings right here, and right here the order is really important. If you mess around with the order of this middleware, then it's the hell. This is known. Just pay attention where you require your stuff. So start by requiring right here config / passport, and since this does export a function, if you do remember, we could execute it like so. So if I just jump into it, there you go. So this is, we have this one, it's a method, we need to execute it. And the next thing is to go back to passport, and instead of that there is an initiation or initialization, whatever it's called. So I won't be using serializer for now, but I'm looking for app.use, not this one, static cats passport initialize. So I'm just need to add this to my code. So it's saying like express connect middleware is no longer excluded, whatever. You could just read about this. So simply we are telling or express another term to initialize and use passport session, and that's it. Okay, so now we could go ahead and connect to the database. Yeah, so to connect to the database, we'll be using Mongoose. So the good practice is to create a new file right here or somewhere else with config and database, etc. But to speed up things, I would just connect right here. So connect to DB, and I will do Mongoose and just make sure that it's reloaded. So var, it's not var, it will be a const Mongoose. I'll be doing equals to require Mongoose, and right here I'll do mongoose.connect, and this connect does take the first one, which is the URL of the database with connection, credentials, etc., you could get this from the MLab right here. Let me just show you that. So you jump to your database, and normally you got this Mongo stuff. There you go. So you just have to fill your username and password right there. All right. The next thing is to add a flag, which is use new URL parser, and set it to true, because this Mongo's client get updated, and this kind of back compatibility insurance, right? So you have to just use new URL parser always to true. And the next thing that this things does return a promise. We need to do a then statement. So let's start by resolving and telling console.log we connected to DB, and let's reject when things get rejected. Reject. Okay, we could say console.log or code error. Probably this is make more sense. Error connecting. Was that connecting to DB, and we concatenate that error. Oh, sorry, it's reject actually. Great. Let's go ahead and test it. Okay, it's really broken right here. So first of all, we have this mongoose. We need to require mongoose. What's wrong with that? Let me just reboot up these things. It seems like okay, I just have to install mongoose. So I just split this one, npm e mongoose. On a second, it will be ready. Come on, dude. Yep. So we have also we forget to import passport. So we do const passport equals to require. Oops, semicolon. Oh, well, what is called these ones? Double quote or single quote. Okay, so our app is up and running. You're connecting to the database. Try to connect to the server on first. So it seems like my credentials are not correct. So let me just update this one to 2. Seems to be okay. Connected to database. Connected. Using an E. Connected. Yeah. Okay, great. Our database is connected. And what's next? Let's go ahead and test these things, and hopefully won't jump into errors and trouble. So if you go there, passport is not defined. In which page? Let me just make this slightly slower. And user.js line 13. User.js. So yeah, so it's normal because we did not create or loaded the passport, so it's pretty normal, no problem on that. Now if I do refresh again, if I refresh, what will happen here? I'd like to jump into the console and have a look. Is everything went well? So there's no output, there's nothing. What about doing this? Okay, dude. Seems like I messed around with the order of these ones. So did I forget something? So I did import passport, mongoose 2, I used the initializer, and what did I miss? I'd like to check the passport, that I could probably forget something. Okay, so right here we have sport use, new local strategy, username field, choose email, password done, and it's wrong. So this user, whoa, wait a second, I think there is an error right here. Let me just check back the documentation for this. Wait a second. Username and password. Oh. Okay, so this is the very first problem with this documentation. We actually need to add it rack, res, and done, or next, sorry, that we tell the next middleware to, we let the next middleware get executed. So let me just refresh, and there you go. It seems to be working. What's going on here? It does say that not found this med. Yeah, actually I was fooled. So this block must be there, and what did happen that I'm redirecting to the /login. You are a dump. So my apologize, guys. So now if I jump into this one, I'm just redirected back because he's not finding anything, which is wrong, by the way. So we need to have a jump into this one. So connected to DB. I'd like to check. So Mohamed Habib Alwi, it's the correct email. So why in the hell I'm not getting my object back? Find by one. So right here it must be not username but email, actually. Right, email must be an email. Now if I move back to the browser, submit it again, and there you go. We are having our subject returned correctly. This is it, and it does redirect me directly back to the home page where I set it to be, the success landing page, let's say like that, or say it that way. Okay, so this is it. So when a success redirect me to the root, and everything is fine. So this is the bare bones minimum things of passport connection using the username and the password. For sure, the next sectional part of this work will be the session. So setting up the session and storing this information and serialize the user to, as we did here. So if I may just back to this one, we are already serializing the user, and the serializing that will be stored inside the cookies of our application. Hopefully, if I do inspect and move to the storage, cache storage, okay, seems like it's not taking effect, but I did not set up that to work. But as I said, this is the next part of this work. I will stop right here, and hopefully this is useful for somebody. I'll push this code on the GitHub, and I'll leave the command, I'll leave the link in the box below, and just I dropped my microphone. And yeah, so please feel free to put comments and any feedback you have on this episode, if there is something to improve or you have any question about this topic, because I know it's not an easy topic, especially with these messy documentations. And yeah, so we're done for this video. I'd like to say thank you again, and please don't forget to subscribe to that bell buttons to stay tuned and to purchase my courses on Udemy, to use MedSam as a coupon, and you will get all the courses for $9.99. So welcome back, guys, and see you in another video. Ciao.